Oilers versus Ducks. Now, this is a very interesting series. Obviously, the Oilers, having been to the Stanley Cup final a number of times, obviously, if anyone who listens to the podcast knows, I'm not necessarily what you'd call an Oilers truther. The Ducks, nobody saw coming this year. I can say that quite openly. We've talked about that on the podcast a lot, that the Ducks have surprised a lot of people and are probably not the team that people would have expected to make the playoffs, let alone have contested for so long for the lead of the division, even with the Pacific being as soft as it has been. One of the things that I would point out in this Oilers versus Ducks series is that a lot of the natural advantages that we think that the Oilers have, they haven't necessarily had this year. All of their base stats are down. Obviously, their point stats were down from this year. But even beyond that, the things that you would expect to be the massive strength, they're still a strength. But compared to previous seasons, for example, if you look at their power play, which everyone looks at their power play, their actual goals on the power play have dropped quite significantly in terms of their average. And while their penalty kill is getting a lot better, and their penalty kill has improved since they obviously brought in 2 penalty killers from a system that was working, that drop in power play has been significant for me. The other thing to remember with that, of course, is they've been largely for the majority of the second half of the season, they've been without Leon Draisaitl. That is very pertinent, though, to this preview, because obviously we know that you're going to see him back. What form of Leon Draisaitl are we seeing, though? Is this a Leon Draisaitl who is healed up, or everyone plays injured in the playoffs? I suspect that we're going to see a Leon Draisaitl that's not necessarily close to 100%, and I do wonder how that is going to impact on the Oilers team. Now, season series, the Oilers won more than the Ducks in the season series. They won 2-1, but every one of those games was a little bit of a track meet. If you look at the stats, for example, it was like 4-2 is the lowest scoring one, and then there was a 6-5 and a 7-4 in there. So you've got a situation where the Ducks and the Oilers have contested a lot of high-scoring, high-flying games. I kind of favour the defence of the Ducks a little bit here, and I also favour the speed at which I think that the offense of the Ducks can probably get in. My concern for the Oilers is their goaltending is terrible. Lucas Dostal has been really good for the Ducks, obviously, and Husso's a really good, really solid and strong backup there. We know about the problems that the Oilers have faced in net, and going off and getting Tristan Jarry hasn't done much. And Connor Ingram's been a little bit more reliable, but that's necessarily not saying a lot. I look at this series as one where everything tells you the Oilers should probably win this, and everything tells you that Connor McDavid is going to be Connor McDavid, and this is a series too early for the Ducks. But I believe in being bold, and I don't trust the Oilers' defense, and I don't trust the Oilers' goaltending, and I think if it's a shootout, McDavid is brilliant, but in a 7-game series, does Connor McDavid on his own outscore a Ducks team that has Carlson and Troy Terry and Seneca, and Granlund's been really good for them, and Katagatier and those sorts of things? I just think that in a 7-game series, I'm going to take the Ducks in 7, and I know there'll be a lot of people who will be not surprised that I'm not picking Edmonton, but I'm picking the Ducks in 7 because I just think that it's not a good matchup I think the Oilers would have much rather have seen the Kings again. And obviously we know that the Kings have kind of been the team that they know they can get past. Just to give you an idea, for stats, according to Hockey Stats at the moment, the projection model has the Oilers as 4th in offensive play driving, 18 in defensive play driving, 31st in finishing, and 28th in goaltending. And the Ducks are 3rd in offensive play, 31st in defensive play, 29th in finishing, but 16th in goaltending. I think that massive gulf in goaltending is going to be the biggest difference. And I suspect, therefore, that we're going to get a victory for the Ducks in 7. And now for the series that has basically been an arms race, which is Dallas versus Minnesota. Obviously, this is an arms race in the Central. we've got the top three in the Central. Obviously, you've got Dallas, you've got Minnesota, and then obviously at the very top of that, you've got Colorado, who we've already mentioned. When you look at this series, I think there are a few interesting things to note. First of all, Dallas are really good still, and that's an obvious statement to make when you've got that sort of front top line and the way that they score. They've outpaced their points from last year, and they had 106 points last year. They've outpaced that this year. Dallas have been very good. One of the things that's been incredibly strong in particular is if you look at their power play, the Dallas power play has taken not a slight step forward. The Dallas power play has taken a leap forward. They were averaging 7.86 goals per 60 on the power play. That's been changed to 10.57 this year. So that power play has gotten significantly better. What I will say is the short-handed side of things, and when they're defending the power play, they're scoring less and they're conceding more goals. But it's about comparable with Minnesota. As for Minnesota have taken obviously a significant leap forward this year as well with their stats. Defensively on the power play, Minnesota, as I said, they're about the same number of goals conceded on a power play as Dallas. However, that is down from like 10.13 per 60 to 7.3. So their penalty kill has gotten significantly better. In terms of power play, again, they're up as well. They're up from 7.16 per 60 to 9.22 per 60. So again, these are two teams that have gone all out improving their power play in particular. In terms of 5v5, in terms of the way these two teams play, obviously getting Quinn Hughes in to help Kaprizov has been absolutely brilliant for them, and you can just see the step that Minnesota have made with Quinn Hughes coming in the door. Dallas have just been Dallas. Like it feels almost disingenuous to just say that's Dallas, but that's Dallas. Like Dallas have been in this situation for a bit longer. In terms of the matchup, I feel like there is potential for either of these teams to win. I could definitely see Minnesota winning. I think that Minnesota, you've got Matt Boldy, you've got all these players that can score. You've got a high octane offense with Quinn Hughes now at the back, as well as not only obviously defensively, but as an assist machine, which is what he is. So that really sets Minnesota up quite nicely for this matchup. And if I was Dallas, I'd be very concerned about that. Having said that, I feel like Dallas's I've been here mentality probably gets them over the line. I feel like these teams, and it's a bit of a cop-out to say evenly matched, but these two teams are supremely evenly matched. This is a bit of a flip of a coin. I'm going to pick Dallas. I'm going to pick Dallas in 7. Not with significant conviction. This one's probably the least sure I am of any of the series that I've predicted. I think that Dallas are probably they've been here more, and Minnesota, they've been around, but obviously they've taken the step. They're hoping to take more steps. I don't think this is the last time we're going to see them meeting in playoffs, but in this one, I'm going to go with Dallas in 7. And next up, it's Kings versus Avs. Now, a lot of the series you'll hear me talk about are really tight, and in particular, Dallas versus Minnesota is a coin flip, and it's a very tight series. This is the in 3 series, if you really want to do that. And I know that people are going to say the Kings obviously have a chance. We've seen this happen before. Don't write off the Kings. The Kings are scoring less goals than they have in previous seasons. They are conceding more goals than they have in previous seasons, and that's across the board. Their goals for are down in 5v5. Their goals for are significantly down on the power play. Their goals conceded on the penalty kill are much higher. The Kings sort of have got into this spot because the teams that are chasing them are rebuilding, or the teams that are chasing them are not quite where they should be, or again, all those sorts of things. the Kings sort of stumbled into the spot, and good for the Kings. And obviously, it'll be really nice for Kopitar to get a couple more games before the end of his career. But this is where it ends, because the Colorado Avalanche have been an absolute freight train. I know they had a little bit of a blip, and people go, "Oh, slight blip there." The Avs have sort of been in monitor it mode for a while now. Their points last year they had 102 points. This year they had 120, and they're at 120 pace. That's at a canter. That's not them pushing really hard at this point in time. Now, obviously, I'm recording this before they play the Kraken, so they may end up obviously on even more points. But the overall picture is that they have Nathan McKinnon, they have Lehkonen, they have Gabriel Landeskog, they have a team that is dangerous anywhere on the ice. They have Kyle McCarr on defense. Brent Burns has a chance to get himself his cup, which I really want to see him get a cup. The goaltending is solid. Like, it's not great. It's Blackwood and Wedgwood. It's the Woods. And Mackenzie Blackwood's solid enough, and Scott Wedgwood again is solid enough. It's not outstanding goaltending, but it is solid enough. But when you look at the other side of it as well, and you look at the King side of it, their goaltending's not been great. You've got a couple of possible bright spots there. Brent Clark's coming into his own a little bit on that second defensive pairing for the Kings. Drew Doughty's still there, but obviously not quite where he has been previously. Scott Lawton's been good. We're waiting for Byfield. I really want him to take that next step. He's not quite where he should be. And look, Artemi Panarin is dangerous. And as I've said before, I don't rate Panarin as highly as a lot of people do, because I think he scores a lot of meaningless goals and stat pads. But the one thing he can occasionally do is he occasionally remembers to turn up in the playoffs. Ask the Rangers. But I don't see it being sustained. I don't see it being long term. I definitely don't see it being enough to take the Colorado Avalanche into anything close to deep water. I don't really feel the need to break this one down that much further. I feel like the answer is, this is probably, look, you could give the Kings a game and say it's going to be 4-1. I'm going to say it's a sweep. I'm going 4-0 Colorado Avalanche. Now, probably what I consider to be one of the weirdest battles in the Western Conference playoffs this year, and possibly in the entirety of the playoffs. The playoffs between the Utah Mammoth and Vegas Golden Knights. Now, it's a really interesting situation. Utah have more points than they had last season. That's a definite. Not by a lot, but it's enough. And they are obviously seeming to take that next step forward. When you have a look at their stats, though, there's not really a significant improvement overall. Their goals per 60 are slightly up, but nothing that you would consider to be outside of the realm of statistical anomaly. So it's very much the same as they scored last year. It's very much the same as what they conceded last year. The benefit for them is they're conceding less on their own power play, which is good, but they're also scoring less on their own power play. Shorthanded, so when they're on the penalty kill, it's the exact same as it was last year, except they are scoring a few more shorthanded goals. That's been a lot better. But overall, their stats haven't really moved across last season. It's very much the same thing. Vegas is a slightly different story. So Vegas is conceding more goals, and Vegas is also scoring slightly less. Now, the thing to remember with this, obviously, is that Vegas have made a coaching change. We've now got John Tortorella, which you don't normally think of as a high-flying offensive move for a team, but they have been playing with a little bit more freedom than they necessarily were towards the end. But Cassidy, something wasn't quite clicking in Vegas. I don't think Cassidy done a bad job. I just think something wasn't quite clicking, and they wanted to give the team a bit of a kick. I don't think that Tortorella works long term, but I think for the short term, Tortorella's actually done so far quite a decent job, because again, Tortorella, when he comes in, his vibes. That changes very quickly, but it's sort of vibes. One of the keys to Vegas, obviously, is keeping everyone fit and everyone healthy, and I think that's always, some people look at that, and obviously it's tempting to point out that Vegas in the past have used, injuries as a thing, but obviously this year it's a bit different with the way that injured reserves worked, but secondly, and far more importantly, you can't use it during the playoffs. So you're dealing with a situation where you've got, how long can Stone stay fit and healthy? How healthy is Jack Eichel? All of those sorts of things. And I think by and large, I actually think that Vegas go into this quite well. The interesting thing is they've been playing Marner at center on that second line a lot, which is a really interesting decision for them. And I think that they're probably going to play more Howden in the middle and play Marner more out on the wing with Dorofeyev, who has been on a scoring spree this year as well. In terms of the two lineups, I think that Utah have come a long way. I think that they're, but this is again, and I would give a shout out to all of those Coyotes people out there that we've obviously made a lot of friends through the Coyotes. This is where the Coyotes were going. The fact that they've got there as Utah doesn't mean that Utah is responsible for it being great. And I've seen some quotes out there talking about this is what Utah can do. I don't think this is Utah sending them there. I think that the Coyotes were on that trajectory. Whether ownership was going to help them or not, they were on the trajectory of getting there. And a lot of this work has been done in previous seasons. And it's largely the same crew. It's just a different arena and different training facilities. That's the difference. Having said all of that, I definitely feel like the area of concern for me with Vegas is goaltending. I don't necessarily like their tandem, and that's not just the Carter Hart of it all, which is a whole other thing that I'm not going to get into. But Vegas's goaltending has always been one of those things which is a very movable situation, and I think if anyone's going to get at Vegas, it's going to be because of their goaltending, not so much their defense, but their goaltending. I'm going to pick Vegas in this one, but I'm going to pick Vegas in 6. I think that Utah will push them, but I do think that Vegas will end up winning this one in 6.